The spring mass oscillator is quite a surprising experiment for the drop tower. And the reason is that you and your students probably predicted that nothing would happen when dropped. I predicted the same. And the reason for that is that the spring has a spring constant K and force Kx, which does not depend upon the acceleration of gravity. The mass m has inertia, which also is independent of the acceleration of gravity. So the frequency and behavior of the spring mass oscillator was postulated erroneously to be the same. You might notice that there are two springs here instead of one. But this is done so that we have a spring in the bottom that is also stretched to provide stability during drop, and it does not affect the behavior of the spring mass oscillator visually during the experiment. When you load the spring from the original equilibrium position of the spring at its unstretched length and add mass, the spring moves downward to a loaded equilibrium position, and that extra stretch x0 conforms with the equation kx0 equals weight mg. Now we stretch the spring a little bit more by adding a little more energy and pull it down to a stretched position x, release the spring mass oscillator under normal conditions, and it oscillates back and forth with amplitude consistent of x plus x to minus x. Once drop occurs, however, weight goes away, and so there is an additional amount of elastic potential energy, 1/2 kx squared, x0 squared, which is now available for the oscillation. So two things happen. The first thing that happens is that because there is no weight, the mass spring oscillator moves upward to the original equilibrium position and begins oscillating about the original equilibrium position with a much greater oscillation amplitude. That higher oscillation amplitude is consistent with the additional elastic potential energy added to the oscillator due to drop. This is very similar to an atom that's been excited and the electron has been knocked up to a higher orbit, and for the period of time that the electron is in that orbit, stored energy is present in the atom, but when the electron drops back to the ground state, that stored energy is then released and is available as light. This is why the mass spring oscillator in the drop tower is so interesting.